Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt as though life had set you on fire from every direction, where every door seemed locked, every prayer unanswered, and every ounce of strength drained from your soul? You look around, and it feels like you're walking straight through hell. But here's the truth: if you're going through hell, don't stop walking. When you are going through hell, don't stop walking. It's easy to freeze when life throws its heaviest storms your way. The mind becomes clouded, the heart feels weary, and the spirit trembles with uncertainty. Yet the only way out of the fire is through it. Stopping, surrendering to despair, or giving up in the middle of your pain only prolongs your suffering. Life's darkest seasons are not meant to imprison you. They are meant to shape you into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Movement, even the smallest step forward, keeps your spirit alive and reminds you that growth still exists on the other side of difficulty. When you continue to move, something powerful begins to happen within you. You may not feel progress immediately, but with each breath, each effort, each act of courage, you are proving that the circumstances don't own you. You own your response to them. The universe does not test you to break you. It tests you to awaken you. Every struggle, every disappointment, every tear shed in silence is molding your inner strength. By choosing to keep walking, you are telling the world that your faith is greater than your fear. It's important to understand that walking through hell doesn't mean you need to run or rush. Sometimes, simply standing up each morning and deciding to face the day is an act of victory. Moving forward may mean forgiving when you want to hate, breathing when you want to scream, or believing when you want to quit. Every step, no matter how small, is a declaration of hope. Progress in pain doesn't always look like success. It often looks like survival, endurance, and unseen perseverance. The fire you walk through is not there to destroy you, but to refine you. When gold is placed in the furnace, it doesn't lose its value. It becomes purer. The same is true for your spirit. The difficulties you face are burning away the doubt, fear, and limitations that have held you back. By continuing to move, you are allowing transformation to occur. The path may be dark, the heat unbearable, but beyond it lies clarity, strength, and peace that can only be earned through endurance. Keep walking with faith that this moment is not your ending, but your awakening. The light may not yet be visible, but it exists ahead of you, waiting for the one who refuses to stop in the fire. Pain has purpose. It may not feel that way when you are in the middle of it, when every part of your heart aches and every dream seems shattered beyond repair. In those moments, pain feels meaningless, cruel, and heavy. But when you step back and look at life through the eyes of the soul rather than the eyes of the ego, you begin to see that every painful experience carries a lesson, a seed of growth, and an invitation to rise higher. Pain is not here to punish you. It is here to teach you something that joy never could. It is the language of transformation, a silent guide that redirects your path when you've strayed too far from who you truly are. When pain enters your life, it demands your attention. It strips away the distractions, the noise, and the illusions that keep you from facing your truth. It forces you to slow down, to reflect, to feel what you've been avoiding. Through that discomfort, you begin to awaken to your own power. You start to see the strength you didn't know you had, the resilience that was sleeping within you, and the depth of your spirit that can only be revealed when everything else is taken away. Pain pushes you to grow in ways comfort never will. Without challenge, there is no change. Without struggle, there is no evolution of the soul. The purpose of pain often becomes clear only in hindsight. You may not understand why you lost someone, why a door closed, or why life seemed to fall apart. Yet, when time passes and healing begins, you look back and realize that every wound made you wiser, every heartbreak deepened your compassion, and every disappointment redirected you towards something better. What once felt like a curse becomes a blessing in disguise, shaping your destiny in ways you couldn't have imagined. When you begin to see pain as a messenger instead of an enemy, everything changes. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in perspective turns suffering into strength, chaos into clarity, and wounds into wisdom. Pain teaches empathy, humility, and gratitude. It opens your heart to the experiences of others and connects you more deeply to life itself. It becomes a bridge between who you were and who you are becoming, guiding you toward your highest self with quiet, relentless purpose. You are stronger than you think. It's a truth that often hides beneath the noise of fear and doubt, waiting to be discovered in the moments when life tests you the most. Strength is not about never breaking. It's about what you do after you've been broken. It's about the quiet courage to rise again, even when your heart is heavy and your path unclear. Many people believe strength is something you're born with, a gift given only to a few, but the truth is that strength is built in the fires of adversity. Every challenge you face, every obstacle you overcome, adds another layer to the foundation of your resilience. You may not recognize it in the moment, but each time you survive something you thought would destroy you, you grow stronger, wiser, and more capable of facing whatever comes next. Strength does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers in the small acts of endurance that others never see. It's the mother who smiles through her tears, the student who refuses to give up despite repeated failure, the soul that chooses faith when everything around seems lost. Real strength doesn't demand attention. It moves quietly with steady determination, guided by an inner knowing that life is bigger than any temporary storm. You are built to endure more than you realize, and every time you rise from hardship, you are proving that there is something unshakable within you that cannot be defeated. Most of the limits you perceive are illusions created by fear. The mind tells you that you can't go on, that you're not capable, that the pain is too much. But your spirit knows better. There is a deeper force within you that comes alive when you decide to fight for your peace, your purpose, and your dreams. That force doesn't rely on external strength. It draws from the infinite energy of life itself. When you connect with that power, you realize that no challenge is too great, no loss too heavy, and no setback too final. The beauty of discovering your strength is that it transforms not only how you face difficulties, but how you see yourself. You stop identifying as a victim of life and begin to see yourself as a co-creator of it. Every trial becomes a training ground for your soul, preparing you for greater purpose and deeper compassion. You come to understand that your power isn't in avoiding pain, but in transcending it, and that the same force that once broke you now builds you into someone unshakably whole. Every storm passes. It may rage for a time, shaking everything you thought was secure, darkening your skies and flooding your heart with uncertainty. But no storm has ever lasted forever. Life's tempests are part of the natural rhythm of existence, moments of turbulence that eventually give way to calm. The winds that once terrified you will eventually grow still, and the rain that blinded your vision will clear to reveal a brighter sky. When you are in the middle of a storm, it feels endless. The noise, the chaos, and the fear convince you that you will never find peace again. Yet, even as the storm roars, the sun still exists behind the clouds, waiting patiently to shine through. In the storms of life, your task is not to control the weather, but to anchor yourself in faith. Fear tells you that the storm will destroy you, but faith reminds you that it is temporary. It tests your foundation, shakes loose what is weak, and leaves standing only what is strong. The people, habits, and beliefs that cannot withstand the storm are the ones not meant to go with you into your next chapter. Storms, as harsh as they are also cleansing. They wash away what no longer serves you, forcing you to rebuild on truth, courage, and authenticity. When the winds of hardship blow, it's easy to believe that life is against you. But what if the storm is not your enemy but your teacher? What if it has come to strip away your fears, to show you that your strength does not depend on external calm, but on the peace you create within yourself? When you learn to find stillness amid chaos, the storm loses its power over you. You stop waiting for the world to quiet down before you feel safe, and instead, you realize that true peace comes from trusting the process, even when it makes no sense. Every dark cloud carries within it the promise of renewal. The storm that bends you is the same one that teaches you flexibility. The thunder that startles you awakens something deep inside, a resilience that cannot be shaken. When it finally passes, you will not be the same person who entered it. You will be wiser, calmer, and more connected to the strength that lies within. The sky always clears, the light always returns, and each passing storm reminds you that you have already survived so much more than you once believed you could. Bless the fire, don't curse it. The instinctive reaction when facing pain, loss, or struggle is to resist it, to cry out against it, and to wish it away. But the moments that burn the most are often the very ones that shape the deepest parts of who you are. The fire of hardship is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to refine you. Just as gold is purified in intense heat, so too is the human spirit cleansed and strengthened through life's trials. Every flame you face is a force of transformation, stripping away illusions, fears, and attachments that keep you from living as your truest self. The fire is uncomfortable, but it is sacred. It is the universe's way of reshaping you into something purer, wiser, and more powerful than before. When you curse the fire, you trap yourself in resistance. You waste your energy fighting what could instead be working in your favor. But when you bless it, when you accept that this burning serves a higher purpose, something shifts inside you. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and become a participant in your own transformation. You begin to see the beauty within the pain, the lesson within the loss, and the rebirth within the ashes. The very things that once seemed unbearable become the stepping stones to your awakening. The fire doesn't just burn away what's old. It reveals what's eternal, what cannot be destroyed, and that is your divine essence. Blessing the fire means trusting that there is meaning even in moments you cannot yet understand. It means choosing faith over fear, growth over bitterness, and surrender over control. It means acknowledging that while you may not have chosen the hardship, you can choose your response to it. The flames may take things from you, comfort, certainty, plans, but they also leave behind something priceless, clarity. They teach you what truly matters, what's real, and what was never meant for you to hold on to. When you stand in the middle of your fire with gratitude instead of resentment, you turn suffering into sacred alchemy. You begin to recognize that every challenge is a divine invitation to rise higher. The fire humbles you, but it also empowers you. It breaks you open, but it also fills you with light. In blessing the fire, you acknowledge that even in the burning, life is guiding you toward renewal, teaching you to shine with a brilliance that could only come from walking through the heat and emerging whole. Transformation awaits beyond the trial. Every difficulty you encounter, every heartbreak you endure, and every loss you survive carries within it the seed of something greater. Life's trials are not random acts of cruelty. They are divine instruments of change. When you walk through pain, you are being prepared for a new version of yourself, a version that can only be born through endurance, patience, and faith. The experiences that once seemed unbearable often become the very foundation of your strength and wisdom. Transformation does not happen in comfort. It happens in discomfort, in uncertainty, and in moments that demand that you let go of what no longer serves your growth. It's easy to believe that hardship is a sign of misfortune, but in truth, it's often a signal that you are being elevated. Just as a caterpillar must enter the darkness of the cocoon before it becomes a butterfly, your soul must pass through its own stages of confinement and struggle before it can unfold into its full potential. The cocoon is not punishment, it is preparation. The same applies to your trials. They are shaping you, softening you where you were rigid, strengthening you where you were weak, and awakening you where you were asleep. When you surrender to this process, rather than resisting it, you begin to see transformation not as an event, but as a journey of becoming. Every person who has ever grown into greatness has walked through their own valley of pain. The difference lies in perspective. Those who transform see beyond the immediate discomfort. They look at the trial and ask, "What is this trying to awaken within me?" That question opens the doorway to change. It shifts your focus from suffering to purpose, from despair to discovery. The lessons learned through hardship stay with you far longer than any moment of ease. They remind you of your resilience, your capacity to love despite loss, and your ability to rise from what once broke you. When the storm finally settles and the fire cools, you realize that you have not just survived, you have evolved. The person who emerges on the other side of the trial carries a new light, a deeper peace, and a greater understanding of life's sacred balance. What once felt like the end becomes the beginning of a new chapter, one written by strength, wisdom, and grace. Transformation doesn't wait for you on the path of comfort. It greets you beyond the pain, where your spirit stands renewed, and your soul finally recognizes its own power.